Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Jay's Flix. I'm your host Jaden, and today we're going to be talking about Joe Goldberg of the Netflix series You. But we're going to be talking about this will be a character analysis, right? So I want to start doing these character analysis videos on characters from different shows, movies, whatnot. And in today's episode, in this specific category of Jay's Flix is going to be centered on Joe Goldberg. Now, of course, as we all know, if you've watched the Netflix show You, then you know that Joe is a guy, he obviously pines for love, and he has this problem where he meets a girl, then he starts obsessing over her, and then he starts to just insert himself into her life and starts getting rid of people around her so that he can be the main source of her attention, and all that stuff. And he does this for the course of 4 seasons. And then the 5th one coming up, in 2025, which will be the last season of the show, unfortunately. But I mean, I have to say this though, Penn Badgley absolutely killed the role, when he got in. He originally didn't want to do it. A lot of people don't know that. He didn't want to play this role originally, but he ended up doing it. And he's, I think, done a great job. I can't see anybody playing this part better than him, because he is able to successfully encapsulate himself in the role of Joe Goldberg. He's able to, the inner monologues that the narration that we hear during the episodes, and how he's able to fit the criteria of somebody like Joe, who's a quiet person, but they're very smart, they're charming, they're observant, and they're very witty and things like that, which is very attractive to people, not just women, but just people in general, which is why he's able to have people gravitate towards him, how he's able to easily get into people's circles and have them trust him, so that's a big thing. And we're going to talk about that more specifically as we go throughout the episode. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button here on Jay's Flix. Check it out, and follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Find us right there. Jay's Flix 23 is the name of the account, so you can find us, follow us, and make sure you check out my other videos below. Got a lot of great content there for y'all. Going to be dropping some more, videos here, over the next couple weeks and stuff. So make sure you stay tuned for that. All right. Now, as promised, the character analysis of Joe Goldberg. So of course, like I mentioned before, Joe's a bookstore manager. He's in the first season of this show. He is a bookstore manager in New York. He meets a girl named Beck, blah, blah, blah. He gets obsessed over her. We all know the deal, and like I said, this goes for 4 seasons. Now, the thing with Joe, though, specifically, that I feel like makes him such a very complex character, which makes him easy to like, but also easy to dislike as well, is the fact that Joe is somebody, a lot of people have labeled Joe as a psychopath, now, which is, it is an accurate, I will say it is a somewhat accurate depiction or categorization, if you will, of a character like him, of a guy like him, because a psychopath is somebody who they have no empathetic or like social connection with anything or anyone. They're basically like, they do things that they do things that may cause harm or violence or anything to other people, or whatnot, and they feel no remorse for it. In their mind, what they're doing is for a logical, strategic reason that behind why they do. Or sometimes it's not, and sometimes they do it just because they see no reason why not to. They just want to do these things. There's something. It just depends on the person, really. Joe is one of those. He does things. The things he does, which involves stalking and kidnapping and murdering and fraud and identity theft and so many things on the full list of Joe Goldberg crimes. He does it because he is convinced himself. He's self-justifying his behavior, dangerously, because he's doing it to protect the women that he loves or the people that he loves. He thinks he's doing this to protect them, to keep them safe. He has this dire need to be in control over people. And that's what makes him so dangerous. He has this need to feel like he should be, these women have to be in his possession. They must belong to him, must be his. He can't, they can't be with anybody else. They can't be around anybody else, really. Or Joe if he senses that they are a threat to him, not to the person, to him, or I mean, yes, and the woman too, but mainly to him, I feel like then he will, deal with them, in his words. So that's what makes him such a complex character to watch. And Joe is one of those people he's able to very easily manipulate. And the reason he's able to do so is because he's a guy, like I say, he's very quiet. He's observant. He pays attention to everything in his surroundings. He by looking at the things that people are doing, not so much what they're saying or whatnot. Like he's a big guy on body language and cues and things like that, nonverbal communication, what people may intentionally or unintentionally communicate to him or to other people. That's what he pays attention to. Like for instance, when Beck walks into the bookstore in the first season, in like the pilot episode, he's taking note of how her bracelets are jangling and how her hair is tied up in a specific way, and how the section of the bookstore she's walking to. All these things he's paying attention to, which is telling him something about this girl. Like in his mind, this is telling her, oh, well, she's doing this, so she must be this. She's you want to be you want to be seen. You want your attention. You're not wearing a bra, whatever the case may be. It's like you want me to notice that. He pays attention. He picks up on all these things, and it's able to. Not only that, but it's also able to lead him to starting conversations, like paying attention to the book that she was looking for, and he's able to start a conversation with that. Now some of these tactics, like can be beneficial when you're meeting new people. I mean, particularly like if you find like someone attractive and you're trying to talk to them, potentially date them, like of course observing things about them that, like whether it be their clothing or what they might be doing, like a task they might be doing, a book they might be reading, or whatever the case may be, a food they may be eating. You're able to that's a quick conversation starter, and it's not just you having to. Joe's not the guy that's just going to walk in the room and just say what's, try to come up with something to say, like, hey, how's the weather doing, or, hey, like he's a guy that he has to carefully craft his conversations, interactions with people. And that's what makes him such a very intriguing person. That's how he's able to adapt to many conversations, and he'll do that largely by the person he's interacting with, depending on what, like, the type of person they are, or where the setting is, where they are located. And this varies throughout the seasons. In season 2, he's meeting with, he goes to a bar and he's meeting with a guy that that used to work with Henderson, who was a character in season 2, who was this big, he was a comedian guy that Joe was, trying to keep away from Ellie, because Ellie, he thought Joe believed that this guy was a sexual predator, and Ellie was his neighbor who was 15 years old, played by Jenna Ortega, blah, blah, blah. The point is, he went to the bar, and he's able to strike up a conversation with this guy who did theater with Henderson before, and Joe cares absolutely nothing about it, nothing. But by doing his research and by mirroring what this guy's saying, and like when he starts up the conversation, the guy says something like, yeah, I really like doing the play. It was totes awesome. And Joe will be like, oh, totes, yes. Like, he's repeating what the other person is saying, mirroring them, which makes them feel like you understand them. And it makes them feel, psychologically, it makes them feel closer to you when you guys have really just met. But they have this natural feeling that, oh, he likes this too, or she likes this too. And, they understand me. So it's like it makes them more open to talk to you and interact with you. And he's able to do this so efficiently, so effectively. Joe is able to adapt to his surroundings very effectively. In other words, what people might call a chameleon. He's able to put himself in any environment and adapt to that environment, depending on, who the people are, whoever the case may be. He's able to do that efficiently and to his benefit. Now, it's not the best way to go about things. It's not a good way to live life, because if you're constantly going around putting up different facades, depending on the people you're around, you're not going to have any type of true sense of identity. And that's going to definitely hurt you when you try to be in a relationship with somebody. And that's definitely something that hurt Joe, I feel like, as well. He's always going around just catering himself to the women he's around, and it largely hurts him, in the long run. But yeah, like I said, Joe definitely is a person. He's a very quiet. He listens. He listens to things people talk about. He listens to them before he speaks. Unlike somebody like 40 Quinn, Love's brother, who was very eccentric and loud. He usually spoke what, like a lot of people in the world, the first thing that came to his mind. And Joe is not like that. That's why 40 could easily be swayed and manipulated, and Joe is not like that. Joe is somebody who's going to listen to what you say. He's only going to speak when it's necessary, when the time calls for it, and it's only going to be specifically catered to what the scenario is involving, what the setting is involving. He's not going to go higher or lower than that, and that's how it's also just doing that with a straight face. It's not really displaying many emotions. The leakage hypothesis, he's not, displaying too many facial expressions. It's mainly just a straight, like stoic face, for the most part, that he conveys. And that's how people are not able to fully get a good read on the type of person he is, which is how he's able to craft that persona to whatever he wants it to be, depending on how it's going to benefit them and benefit him in that current situation. So that's why I feel like he's one of the most like intriguing characters in television, because it makes him very dangerous, because he's able to, again, use those observant skills and use that use all those things to his advantage, of course, for the wrong reasons, albeit, but he's able to use those things to his advantage. Now, this, again, if done correctly, could be beneficial. Now, in life, sometimes it's good to listen first and talk later, because you may have a question about something, or you may not know something fully, but if you hear it in conversation, whether it's through other people and indirectly, or through someone that you're directly talking to, then you are able to then move on forward, based off of that information that you have received, again, whether that's directly or indirectly, but going in guns a-blazing and just speaking on your mind, whatever's on your mind, not always the best tactic with a lot of things, but again, for some people, it's like sometimes, yeah, that is the best or sometimes that is a good thing, but sometimes it's not. A lot of times it's not, especially now in the way that the world is, you can't really do that a lot, or you're going to get, as everybody likes to say, you're going to get canceled. And, but yeah, Joe's a guy, he doesn't, and that's the thing about him. He doesn't buy into the hype of things. That's how he's able to also just keep himself just detectable, unreadable, like, for instance, when he moves to LA and, he's noticing all these things that people are doing, how they're on social media and how, like, they're hiding their real life behind a facade. And there was a guy, he was, and this is like his inner monologue talking in episode. And then he's noticed how this guy in the coffee shop, he's eating a vegan muffin, but he's saying he actually probably, is doing that, breaking a fast, or whatever. Like, he's able to notice these things about people because he's from an outside he's sitting on the outside perspective. So he's able to sit back and fully kind of like see things for what they are, instead of what they're presenting themselves, or people that, or who, what they're presenting themselves to look like. And that's how he's able to really find out, what type of people that he meets and interacts with, what they are like, and, how they can be beneficial to him, or how they may be a threat to him. It's very interesting when you think about it, like, and the way they wrote this character. I mean, I just like it's very perplexing. And it's definitely a person that it would explain how he's able to get away with all the things he was gotten away with, is because of all of those qualities, those traits, the charm, right? That usually psychopathic people, sociopathic people, they're able to use a good amount of time. They have a charming outside look, outside personality that they're able to use to reel in people, to get them to trust them. Then they start doing whatever it is they're planning to do, right? Without people suspecting them. Joe does this, though. He does this intentionally and unintentionally. Like I feel like sometimes, yeah, he does it. Now it's just his natural persona. He's just like he's like that. He's witty, he's charming, he's intelligent. Reads a lot, so he can reference many famous authors or different works of literature, things like that. Just different things in history, whatever it may be. But sometimes he um, you know he does do it on purpose just to get people to like look over him. Oh, like, he's just a harmless guy, nice guy, gentleman. In reality, he is a sadistic and obsessive monster. And that pretty much is going to wrap up the character analysis of Joe Goldberg for the Netflix show You, which all 4 seasons right now are streaming on Netflix. The 5th season is coming out sometime in 2025. We don't know when, but sometime in 2025. I'm looking forward to it. So make sure you guys leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Did I do a good job of my analysis of Joe Goldberg? And let me know what character you want me to analyze next year on Jay's Flix. We'll see you next time.